meetup of software testing board. So do you see guys? Do you guys see my screen, right? Hello, Parveen, Gopi.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So let me just give you introduction about this meetup. So this is throughout the meetup. These are the discussion we are going to have. I'm first going to give you the introduction about this meetup and how to join, and after that we are going to have talks by our speakers. That is Parveen and Gopi. And once we are done, we'll also have an interactive session where people can come and ask question and through the I'll explain you how to ask a question to the speaker. And after the interactive session, I'll give you a short introduction about software testing board and our LinkedIn page, our meetup page, and how to RSVP for the next meetup. And also, I'll explain you how to be a speaker for the next meetup. So, what is this meetup about? So, this is first of all completely online meetup. So, when I say it's online meetup, the reason earlier we used to have physical meetup, but then it was difficult to for everybody to come at the same place and then talk. So we made it online so people around the globe can join us. And so second thing is how do you interact with the speaker throughout the meetup. So you can go to softwaretestingboard.com/meetups. This is the page we have. And once you go to softwaretestingboard.com, you can click on upcoming and you can interact with the click on upcoming. You will see the meetup page loaded, and at the bottom of page we have this section where you can ask your question. And I'll be uh, telling the I'll be repeating those questions to the speakers and they will answer your queries.
Mayur, are you there? Hello.
Parveen, do you want to do your presentation?
Can you come again? Because I think voice is getting break actually.
Yeah, can't hear you. I mean, it's breaking. Hello?
Hello.
Hello? It's only me and you.
Yeah, I think we got some network fluctuation. It seems.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's back.
In the interest of time, you can proceed. I think.
Yeah, not sure. Like, I don't know if people are online or not.
I think any streaming is going on, right? So later also they can see the video. It
Hey
seems.
guys, sorry, I just got disconnected a bit. I don't know why. Okay, so can you guys see me now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll continue with my presentation. So to the guys, those who are online, I guess we missed at you can come to softwaretestingboard.com/meetups and you can click on upcoming button here, and it will take you to the meetups page. And the bottom of the page we have a comment section, so you can comment at the bottom of the page and any question you have, any feedback you have, or anything you want to ask to the speakers, you can ask them. So next thing is agenda of the meetup. So we are going to have we are going to have a talk by Parvin Sultana, and that will be about tester survival guide for agile transition. So if you want to interact with her, we have LinkedIn profile of hers here, and you can from this presentation you can get her link to her LinkedIn, and you can get in touch with her. So Parveen, over to you. You can continue your presentation. I'll make you as a presenter.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah. Hey Parveen, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I'm Parveen, and I'm a senior test engineer at Progressive Content. So maybe like I'm guessing like anyone who is here might be already like going through waterfall. Working in agile, or they are new to agile, or they might be experts in agile. So today I'm not going to talk about what agile is, how it helps you, what it helps you, all that stuff. But today I'm going to share my story as a tester of transition from waterfall to agile. Okay, let me share my slides. I hope you all can see my slides. So, okay. So I was working with a small team of developers on a product which is widely used for content generation. So it is still used. So we were developing more new features, and we also were fixing some new fixing any issues which were arise during the using use of product on that product. So initially we had release once in every 3 months. So we followed a proper waterfall process where we had stages. Like first stage was requirements gathering, and then there was design, and then there was development, and then the last stage was testing, as we all know. So all these phases would run in a very slow pace without much time pressure, because you have enough time, right? So because release is like in 3 months time, so you don't feel that pressure at all. So one day, one of our team members suggested that we should start working in agile. So it did sounded very interesting, as you know, like anyone who listens to something new want to learn about it and want to work on it. But then when you listen to something new, you know the challenges, and you already feel like, oh, so no one were in my team were ready for sudden change. In fact, even I was not ready for the change. So we all decided that we should try and read something about agile to try to understand, so that we can start working on it, right? So I had no clue of what agile is really. Okay, when I started reading about some articles and blogs. So after all that reading and research, I did understand the concepts, but they were all theory concepts for me, and I could not still understand how would the role of QA change in agile. So we decided that we should try implementing the process, because until unless we try, we won't know what are its pros and cons. So we said like, okay, our team decided that we should have a sprint once in every 2 weeks, which meant that we would have new features or bug fixes to the production once in every 2 weeks, right? So from once in 3 months in waterfall to once in 2 weeks, that shift was a very big shift, right? So it was it was kind of a panic attack for me. So that's the reason why I call it as a sprint attack. It's because it didn't sound very easy for me, and I had all sort of questions in my mind, like how can I complete testing in 2 weeks? When can I write my test cases? When can I plan which type of testing should be run and when, at which stage? And how can I make sure of quality in such a short time? So I had endless questions. So we started our first sprint planning session. So where we discussed about user stories and bug fixes to be included in that sprint. And I had to estimate how long it would take for me to test. So that we can just prioritize what we could include and what could be moved in backlog, right? Because it was not just me, but developers and myself, we would estimate based on our estimation, we would include what can be done in that sprint. So, like after working in few sprints, like maybe in 2 or 3 sprints, I figured out that the three keys to make this work were collaboration, planning, and decision making. So if you see these, like I personally I feel like these are the main key areas which makes agile work. So let me discuss each of these points in more detail. Okay, so collaboration. When you hear the word itself, the term itself, collaboration means like entire team working together, right? So we had daily scrums, okay, which anyone knows, like it gives us more transparency and the direction to the entire team, because the way it does is like it gives all the team member, like because we all were aware of what everyone else was working on. So this could also give us a chance of any discussions related to any new change, just to give a heads up. Okay, so this also meant that everyone in the team were more synchronized, and they remained very focused towards the sprint goal, right? So I mean, when we started working into agile, we did not follow the scrum. We did not follow scrum because let me just tell you the story about how we started the scrum. Okay, because it was very initial phases. We didn't want to put everything in one place and start something new. Okay, we wanted to take a baby steps. So the need for scrum arose when we faced a situation like where we had to track of who's doing what. So so let me give you a scenario, like give you a scenario where what I faced, like how we came up with this. So there was one scenario where like one of my developer, he fixed he fixed an issue. Okay, he fixed an issue which I raised during the sprint itself, where I was testing a feature which was a highest priority feature. That was the first feature I was testing, which was one of the few of the one of the part of it was pushed to QA environment. So I was testing that. So out of that testing, I raised one of the issue, right? So that issue was fixed, and and I was let know that okay, that issue was fixed. But I was busy in testing the feature itself and raising more issues on it. So one day was passed, like after the fix was done, one day was passed, and the developer got a bit angry that the issue was very high priority issue which he fixed, and still I did not start testing. And one day was passed, so why didn't I start testing? And he didn't knew what I was doing, and he got very furious on me, and he was assuming that I was just ignoring the high priority issue, and I was like simply wasting my time in testing other stuff. I hope there are no developers in here who is listening to my talk. So yeah, so out of his anger, he just invited all the developers and the product owner and myself to the meeting, and he raised that we all he very strictly raised that we all need to work towards the highest priority first without wasting much time in concentrating the low priority stuff, right? So this gave me an understanding why he's saying that. Then I when I informed him what I was working on, and which is why I was not retesting that fixed issue which he was fixed, he got the point, and he did also apologize. But that gave me a very horrible feeling of a tester itself not being trusted. So this is where our management decided that we need to follow Scrum. So everyone knows who's doing what. So everyone has a track of who is doing what. Okay. So what exactly I gained from these Scrum sessions was the trust of the developers and the entire team, that I'm working I'm working towards a sprint goal. I'm not just simply wasting my time, or they know what I'm doing. And if I was doing something like which is not high priority, they would give me a heads up like, oh, don't work on this. So this gave a chance of discussion, so I could. And also it could be something we would inform whether they if there was any urgent attention needed for any issue, I could just give them that, okay, can you please have a look at this. So this gave that assurance. Okay. It it also allowed me to know what was in progress and what was already done by developers, so I can plan myself and prioritize my testing accordingly, right? So I can say that Scrum did play a very biggest part in collaboration of entire team. That's the reason why I say that Scrum itself is a tool for collaboration, as it helped everyone in visibility and transparency, and to let everyone have the assurance of working towards the single goal, which is the sprint goal, right? So when I so let me discuss. Sorry. So the first one was collaboration, and the second thing is planning, right? So planning is the key itself. Okay, so before working in agile, like I never worked with so much planning ever in my life, I can say. And this was the key benefit or the key takeaway for myself personally while I was working in agile. So I did not realize how important planning is, like, until I worked in 3 to 4 sprint cycle. And that's where I started to know when to plan for writing test cases, when to plan about actual testing, and when to plan about doing exploratory testing, right? So I mean, I did face, there was a situation where I just went to my manager and said, oh my god, I'm not getting any time for doing anything, because all the time I'm just testing and writing the documentation. But then I realized, okay, planning, you need to do planning. Okay, so let me tell you what were the things which I needed to plan for as a tester in a sprint cycle. So the first thing was, I had to plan for user stories and bug fixes, because that's the first step once we have the sprint session. So once the story user stories and bug fixes were selected from the backlog, what has to be fixed in this particular sprint, I had to provide my estimations. Okay, so which would so that makes, like, based on estimation, as I said already, like we would plan the sprint. So when discussing about any user stories and bug fixes, if the developer feel that there were any dependencies from the technical point of view, they would let me know that, so that I can add my extra time estimation on it, right? So initially, when they had my estimations, the developers, they did feel that, oh, I was giving too much time estimate. I mean, because that was very obvious, because as I was very new, and because the time was so short, I didn't want to take a risk of not completing it on time, rather give the highest estimation and complete it. So this was my own thing. So I had to explain them why it's going to take me so much time to test, but still, as you know, I mean, initially they would not agree for it. And it also made me feel that, as a tester, why do you always have to explain yourself in a team? Why don't they trust us? And then I thought, okay, there's no point, I have to try to give them an estimation by breaking down the activities. Okay, so I tried this approach. I thought, this let me try with this approach. So when I say breaking down the different activities, what I did was, like, I gave the estimation for reviewing the requirements, I gave the estimation for writing the test cases, for functional testing and exploratory testing, and also regression testing. And also I gave them an extra time for contingency, because any raised for contingency for the retesting of any raised issues. Okay, I gave it in a separate way. So after seeing when they saw all these activities, different activities going through in a single sprint by myself, they were like, okay, they agreed for this approach, because they could see it very clearly. So they were not very, after that, after seeing this approach, they were not very first, they said, okay, that's fine. So at least they started trusting me. Okay, and the next thing for which I had to plan was writing the test cases. As we testers, we know that this is the main crux of the testing, writing the test cases, right? So once sprint planning was completed, and we knew what was included in the sprint, I would start reviewing them, going through the features. And if I had any designs or wireframes, I would go through them. And also, out of my understanding, I would start writing those test cases while developers would start their dev work. Okay, I had to complete writing these test cases and get them reviewed before the feature was delivered for testing, right? Because, as you know, like, when you work in agile, it's not like they give us each time whenever some feature is ready. Okay, so initially, because when you are working in agile, you write your test cases in a very detailed fashion. So in the initial days, I followed the same pattern, but as I went forward, I realized that it's too time consuming. As you know, you have very less time, and you have to finish writing the test cases, getting them reviewed, and start testing. So you have that time pressure on you, right? So I realized that I should not waste so much time in writing too detailed test cases, because this is what is agile about. You don't have to maintain detailed documentation. So I thought like I should start writing these test cases in a way like just write high level scenarios, okay?
Praveen,
Which hello?
Praveen, you are breaking a bit, so if you can just check that.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'll just introduce the audience to ask a question. If they have anything, I'll just let them know. I'll just take a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everyone, so those who are online, if you have any question throughout this meetup, this is online, and you can go to this meetups page again, softwaretestingboard.com/meetups, and you can click on upcoming, and in the bottom of the page you will have a comment section where you can post your question. This is the questions page, and you can post your comment over here, and it will be read out to the speaker. So that's all. Over to you, Arvind.
Okay. Thanks. So yeah, where was I? Yeah. So about the test cases, right? So I decided that we should start writing the high level scenarios which could show the test coverage rather than going in depth of in detail version of test cases, right? So initially developers, I mean, they were not very happy, and they did not wanted me to follow this approach, because they wanted to know every step, every detail of what I'm testing. I can understand their feeling, because they wanted to maintain the quality, but yeah, that's what I would say I was doing as well. But it was very hard for me to convince to try to try this approach, right? I did show them how time consuming it is, and I mean, still they didn't agree for this. But I tried to convince them that
Hey,
shall we
Parveen.
just try. Hello.
Maybe you just have to adjust your router or something because you're still breaking and we're not able to hear you as smooth as earlier.
Oh, nothing has
Mayur,
changed.
Mayur, I think the problem is in your end. I think so because I'm
Yeah.
I'm very much clear actually. So I can hear her voice very much clear actually.
Okay,
There is
cool
no
then.
issue.
Okay, carry on, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, about the test cases, right? So I mean, yeah. So they did agree. They were being very good, and they did try. They did say that okay, let us try for one sprint and follow this approach and see what goes worst. And then when we followed that, there were no problem, because at the end I was giving them the high level scenarios, and I was testing by my end without documenting properly, but then I was completely giving the testing, so that was completely fine. So this was the approach. So once I was very happy that at least they did agree for it, right? So once the test cases, like, they were all ready, uh, they would review those test cases, and when the first build would drop for testing, I would start my testing. And you, as you know, like, as we start testing, new issues will be raised in that particular from that particular feature, or any bug fixes or whatever. So I also had to write test cases for them, and for the new raised issues, and then get them reviewed. So again, I did try to follow the approach of high level test scenarios. Okay, so I mean, I tried to follow the approach of trying to write the test cases for high priority issues first, and then the lowest later on, right? So we need, I know that we need to give some time space to think about the features before we write any test cases. So the context switching, like, just moving from one to another while testing, writing the test cases. It is very difficult when you work like this. So that's why you need to be very adjustful with the context switching. So it is very challenging to keep up with the speed unless the entire team understands each other's pain point. So then it's going to be very easier when you're working in agile. So now coming to exploratory testing. So as we all know, like what exploratory testing is. So I would perform when it comes to agile. I would first perform the functional testing and raise any issues, and then perform the retesting of any raised issues. But initially, I started to feel that I'm missing out something, and then I started to allocate some time for testing the product without following any test cases or any test scripts, and use it like a user who might use the product in any kind of way, right? So I started to follow these sessions as this would allow me to explore the edge cases, and this is a place where new ideas pop up in your mind because you don't follow any instructions. You just play around with the product. So okay, so this is what exploratory testing is. So I like it. I like doing exploratory testing as you don't need to follow any instructions, any steps during the entire session. You just have to explore the system and you will find number of edge cases, right? So I personally never followed any tool for documenting any exploratory sessions. Okay, I know that there are a number of people who use kind of tools or a set of template for exploratory testing, but yeah, I didn't follow any as of now. So recently I did so I did follow the principle of keep it simple. Okay, so only thing how I would do is like I would define the objective of this exploratory session and what part I would explore in this product and how long. I would time box it. I would give myself a time so that I'm not like into it and just going around for hours and hours. So I would time box this. So this by performing exploratory sessions, this gave me an extra assurance of in terms of quality and my own satisfaction to sign off. So okay, so when I'm talking about exploratory, like recently I came across on Twitter someone followed hashtag PQIP. I mean, I really love this. So it's like problem, question, idea, and praise. So these are the four phrases you need to follow when you're doing exploratory session. I mean, everyone has their own way how you want to do what you want to do. So this is the thing which came across to me, and I really love the way he explained about it. So now coming back to our session, like decision making. Sorry, I'm very slow in slides. Yeah. So the third thing was after collaboration and planning. The key thing was decision making, right? So when you when I was working in waterfall, like I did came across few situations, but not as much as in agile because these are very quick ones. So let me tell you, like when I was when I started working in agile, so I faced a situation like initial days where, like, if I give you the scenario, like there was a showstopper issue towards the end of regression testing. Okay, can you imagine, like, okay, next day you have to release it to UAT for stakeholders, and the day before you are getting a showstopper issue on while you're performing the regression testing. So I was in a panic situation, and then I was like, okay, what should I do now? And then I decided that okay, I should let everyone know. I just informed my team members, so we all had a meeting to explain, and I explained about the issue. Why is it showstopper? Gave them the priority, and we all made the decision of like we had to fix that issue because it was the highest priority. So I had to give my estimation. Developers did their estimation, and we fixed the issue. And I had to retest it before it goes to UAT. So, like, you will face situations like these a number of times towards the entire cycle anytime, like, so this situation, for me, it gave me that okay, it's not only about decision making at any stage of sprint, but also maintaining the transparency with the team members. So you, as a tester, you would face different situations where they need to wear the quick thinking hats and make decisions, okay, and maintain the transparency. So they've, and also there were situations where you have to decide to drop some of the issues and which you cannot test in the sprint, and you have to move it to backlog. I mean, you need to be very alert about this because you will face these situations. So let me give you one scenario, okay? So I was completely 2 days away from UAT testing. Okay, we had to deploy it on the 2 days before 2 days, in 2 days. So I had to complete all the testing of retesting of all the raised issues which were done while I was testing the feature. Okay, you never know, well, when you start testing, you never know how many issues you might they might be raised during that testing, right? So it could be, there could be existing issues, or there could be some new related to that feature, or it could be anything. So there were this situation, in this situation I realized that there were number, I had only 2 days, okay, and there were number of issues, and I said like, okay, I can't finish these all issues, retesting of all these issues in these 2 days. So I made a call that okay, let me inform the entire team that I cannot finish this and give the reasoning. It's not just saying that oh, I can't finish this. I have to give the explanation and reasoning behind why I can't finish it, right? So we decided that we have to triage the issues, okay, and confirm that depending on the priority and severity of these issues, what should be fixed in this current release, and what could be moved back to the previous next release or to the backlog, depending on the issue, right? So this also, because the issues were already fixed, they were by developers, it was only me who had to test, okay? So this scenario also gave us that okay, next time around, whenever the developer fixes any issue, he should not push it to QA environment without me giving the green signal. So we started to follow this, because this way, if any of the issues are not fixed, if I'm not, as a tester, if I'm not able to test it, we could always move it to the next release, okay? So yeah, story so far. Once I would complete all these kind of testing, exploratory sessions and everything, I would perform my regression testing, as you know. And after regression testing, everything, UAT sign off, the business stakeholders are happy with it, everything is done, then it would be deployed to production. Yay, okay. And I would perform a quick smoke test on production that the proper build was deployed and nothing has changed, nothing has broken or something, okay. So the more sprints I started to work on, okay, it gave me more confidence in planning and achieving the quality in given 2 weeks time, okay. And after completion of each sprint, it gave me the feeling of like, as a tester, like ticking out, you'll have a list of tasks, right? So it gave me a feeling of a ticking off a task and have and a feeling of accomplishment, because oh yeah, you have completed this sprint very successfully and it is on the prod and people are using it. So it makes you uh, feel good, of course. So the role of, I would say the role of tester changes very drastically in agile. Okay, you are not left silo in a place where you will only know when to test what only once it comes to the your stage of last third stage of testing, right? You as a tester are involved in every part of development, which in turn makes you feel so much valued that oh, you can give suggestion by seeing the wireframe, you can always give feedback while you're looking at the new features, like you are involved in every phase. And that gives you so much value that okay, as a tester, you're not being treated just as a tester, you being more valued, right? After after listening to all these, I can say like it's not that easy. You the phase of transition is not that easy. I mean, any new thing you try or you work on, definitely you'll face some problems, right? So you might have heard some of the problems when I was taking you through my stories, but apart from that, there were some other problems which I faced as a tester. So you might have heard about this, like the major issues which I faced was like the bottleneck, being slow, and the documentation. These were the high level issues, I can say, problems I can say, which I faced, right? So when I talk about bottleneck, as it, like when you when you hear the word itself as it sounds, it makes you feel that you are a blocker, right? But you're not a blocker. And all the time you might hear this like, oh, qa is being a blocker. And developers, they feel that me, I mean, as a tester, you being a blocker, and you can't progress with the release further. Okay. And this they did started to I mean, they did started to take away this tag from me that I'm a bottleneck, when they tried to when they understood the challenges I would face while entire session, while the entire sprint, and how many different activities are involved in a single sprint for me. And they did understand that, oh my god, it is so hard for context switching. uh, it is required by a tester while performing testing and writing test cases and raising the issues in a single sprint. So yeah, so this was one of the major issue which I faced, but then it was merely kind of solved. Okay. And the second point was being very slow. As you know, yeah, I mean, many of my, like most of my developers would feel like, oh, you're being very slow, and I'm trying to finish the stuff very slowly, and I'm giving too much estimation to for a single user story. Okay. Because as a developer, they want to finish I mean, as a developer, when they're developing, they know that there is a tester who is testing, so they can just push. But as a tester, you know that you are the person who needs to make sure the quality is right? So you can't rush. You can't They can rush. I mean, I'm not saying that they should rush or they can rush. I'm not judging a developer, but as a QA, you can't rush. You need to be. I would rather spend my time and do a proper testing rather than rushing and completing it. So I think this point takes a lot of time for a developer to understand when you are working in agile initially. Okay. And the third thing was documentation. Yes, they they still wanted a detailed documentation as in waterfall, when everyone says that agile is all about keeping less documentation because it is fast paced. Yes, it's not something that you don't have to document everything, but you have to document, but not to the detailed extent as it was in waterfall. Okay. But this was one of my biggest issue, which took a lot of time for me to resolve, because yes, they wanted me to maintain smoke test cases. They wanted me to maintain regression test cases suit, raised issues. I mean, there were a number of documents they wanted to maintain, and I was a solo. I'm being a solo tester. It was very hard for me. So it did created blame game when there was any production issue, because they would just straight away say that, oh, QA might have missed some scenario because we don't know what she's testing. We knew that she's testing high level scenarios, but we don't know what are the test cases. So this did created this blame game. But slowly, as and when we approached a number of sprints, we faced different scenarios. So they did understand the situation, and they did say, okay, they did understand that it's very hard to maintain documentation. So the entire process of transitioning was not very easy. Like, it was not very smooth, but yes, towards the end, it was worth the journey, I could say, right? So I was very lucky enough to have a wonderful dev team who were bit tough on me initially, but as and when we went through, they did understand all my pain points. because I was a being a solo tester, and they did try to help me in all the ways, and we ourselves started to work as a team instead of being differentiated as a dev and a QA. So that was very nice. So this was my own these are my own personal experiences and situations which I faced, and how I tried to solve myself. I mean, yeah, different people, depending on the team structure, depending on the team members, depending on the management, depending on the product or application you're working on, people who have already worked on agile might face it in a different way. But this is the take of myself, my own personal experience of how I survived agile transition and still working in it to come up with something great ideas. So thanks guys for listening to my story. I hope for someone who is new and transitioning into waterfall gives some idea of how exactly what kind of situations you might face and how you can do it. You can always like come to me and ask me if you have any of the questions. So yeah, I can say
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah, happy testing ever after, guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you so much for a wonderful talk. I don't see we have any question from the audience for today, but then
Okay.
this is great. It was really very insightful. So if anybody have any question, you can directly go to Parveen's profile and you can contact her. Let me just share her detail. So
Yeah, you can ask me any if you need any help or any if you have any
so
questions after my talk. Yeah, I'm happy to answer those.
her profile is on LinkedIn. You can reach out to her by LinkedIn. If you want to get to her profile, you can go to softwaretestingboard.com/meetups, and you can go to the meetup page, and we have her talk here, and you can just click on the link here and on the talks page, and you can reach out to her profile.
Yeah.
So our next talk is by Gopi, and he's going to talk about mobile app automation using Appium. We also have attached his LinkedIn profile, so anytime if you want, you can reach out to him. So, Gopi, over to you. You can continue.
Yeah, thank you, Mayur. Thank you, Paveen. Thanks for the wonderful session so far. Now I'm going to take a session about the Appium implementation. So we are going to see what is Appium, what is the use of that Appium, why we want to go for Appium like that. I'm going to discuss, and even though I'm going to give you a demo, actually the detailed demo how the mobile app automation is happening using the Appium framework. So like that, I'm going to cover it off today.
Sure.
Uh,
Can you share your screen?
yeah, just a minute. I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen, Mayu?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. You want to say something, Mayu?
Yeah, just give me a moment. I'll just let audience know. Again, I'll just repeat them how to ask you questions so it can be more interactive.
Yeah,
Just give me a
sure.
moment. So, hey everybody in the audience. So if you want to ask a question to the speaker, either to Parveen or Gopi, you can go to softwaretestingboard.com/meetups, and on this page you can click on upcoming meetup, and you'll reach out to this meetups page. And on this meetups page at the bottom, comment
Can I,
section, you can post your.
Mayur, can I stop
Yeah,
sharing screen?
yeah, you can carry on. I'll just make it over to you.
Okay, because you want to show something in the software testing board website. So just I'm thinking of whether
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to
So
stop
you
sharing.
guys are seeing my screen, right?
Uh, no, actually, I am sharing my screen now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, now only we can see your screen actually.
Okay. Sorry, guys. So you can go to this softwaretestingboard.com/meetups, and there you can click on upcoming. And on this upcoming page, there is a stream below that. Beneath that, we have all the presentation. And at the end of the page, you will see a comment section. You can post your question here, and if you have any question, we'll pick it up from here and we'll answer those questions. So that's all. Copy. You can carry on now.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you.
share your screen now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So this is Gopi Kannan. So I'm working as a test manager in a product-based company. So I got around 12 years of experience in software testing, including white box, black box, and even I was into performance testing too. So today I'm going to cover the mobile app automation implementation using Appium. Okay, so just I'm going to give a brief overview about Appium. Then I'm going to cover what are the different frameworks available in the market and how Appium is different with each other. So like that, we are going to see today. So the Appium is an open source framework. That is one of the advantage. So basically, this Appium framework is derived from Selenium stuff. Okay, of course you heard about Selenium, and many people having hands-on experience Selenium because nowadays the Selenium is very familiar framework in the market because of the open source, and not only open source. Actually, it is having lot of n number of features compared with the commercial tools like Provara or UFT, something like that. Okay, so all most of the people, most of the companies are moving towards Selenium because of the easy implementation and very easy to utilize it for regression suite, or the many things can be achieved using the Selenium stuff. So for example, the UI automation, whether it is a JSP technology based web page or ASP.NET or something like that, any web pages with HTML controls can be automated using Selenium. So the same Selenium framework has been utilized by the Appium community. So the Appium, which is nothing but the most of the properties in Selenium got inherited in this Appium framework. Okay, but Selenium you cannot utilize it for mobile app automation. So mobile app, what is mobile app? Just I want to highlight that is a standalone application. So you cannot automate that mobile application available in your phone using Selenium framework. So because of that limitation, we are moving towards the Appium. Okay, so the Appium is the fantastic framework which is supporting cross platform because you can automate both Android platform and iOS platform. Okay, you aware of it because these are the platforms available in the global market, because the most of the people are using this OS, which is nothing but mobile operating systems. Okay, because the Windows OS and even the Brew are very less penetration in the market, because of the most of the markets uh, uh, we- most of the people are using this Android and iOS, which is a fantastic one, because you don't want to use your desktop or laptop to do a lot of actions, because using your mobile app you can do e-commerce transaction, or you want to do any shopping or something like that, you want to book a ticket, everything you can achieve using your mobile app, right, installed in your mobile phone. So today we are going to see how to automate that application. So anyhow, you are going to test that application in a manual way, and at the same time you want to automate certain scenarios or the test cases available at your end. So those automation can be achieved using this Appium framework. Okay, so the Appium is a fantastic framework. It is supporting many programming languages because of this open source stuff. You can see in the screen that it will support Java, it will support Objective C, even it will support JavaScript. So PHP, C Sharp, any languages you can use, and you can prepare your automation script. So you will be writing your automation script for automating the functional requirements, right? So please note it down. This Appium is pure functional testing framework. It can be utilized to achieve that user acceptance testing. Okay, please note the word, the user acceptance testing. So the Appium is going to support user acceptance testing. If you want to do any white box or something like that, then Appium is not the right tool. Okay, so like that, so Appium is going to utilize it for end-to-end automation. So for example, you want to install your mobile application in your phone from the common repository. Then after installation, you want to invoke that application using your script, then you can uh, automate any user actions. For example, what are the user actions you are going to perform in your app? For example, I want to book a ticket, so you will be logging. Okay, you will be logging the application. Then you will be actually for example, book a ticket for a movie or something like that. Okay, you will be searching for a theater in that particular region, then you will be searching for a particular show. Then again you will be selecting the seat. After that you will be doing the payment, right? So like that, till everything can be taken care using this Appium. So this is one of the use case I'm saying here. So like that, if you want to do a recharge or your bill payment or something like that, so everything can be achieved. I mean, the automation can be implemented for all the functional requirements whatever you are having in your end. So okay, so please note it down. This Appium can be utilized for mobile app automation. Again, this mobile app automation is nothing but it will support both standalone application. I mean, in your phone you can see, right, the Gmail application is there. Like that, many standalone applications, if it is a third party or if it is a proprietary, any applications can be automated using this Appium. Other than that, if you want to automate the mobile web, okay, the web applications can be accessed in your phone, right? So like www.irsctc.co.in or something like that. So some websites you will be accessing in your mobile browser, right? So those applications also can be automated using this Appium. Okay, so this is about the basic introduction about Appium. Okay, so each and everything can be automated using this Appium framework. So coming to the next slide, we are going to see the family of Android test frameworks. Okay, so these are the frameworks available in the market. Just I'm showcasing here about the open source actually. So these are the frameworks which is available in the market as open source. You can refer in GitHub. So all the frameworks are available in the market. So if you see, so these are the frameworks available in the market, and compared with all the frameworks, just I'll give a short gist about each one. Okay, first we can go for the Robotium. So the Robotium is one of the framework which can be utilized by running your by preparing your script using core Java. Okay, but unfortunately, Robotium will support only Android platform. It cannot be utilized for iOS platform, because the Robotium is purely it is developed for unit testing purpose. Okay, so as I said, the Appium can be utilized for user acceptance testing, right? But unfortunately, the Robotium was developed basically for unit testing, but you can utilize that for achieving certain functional testing aspects also. Okay, so like that they have developed this Robotium, but the support nowadays for this Robotium is very limited. I mean, the community began this Robotium development, actually the fixes whatever we are facing any problems, the fixes coming from their end is very slow. So this is one of the drawback of Robotium. So like that Espresso, which is released by developed and released by Google. Okay, so the Google developed this Espresso for their unit testing framework. So whatever the Android applications developed in their end, whether it is a proprietary inbuilt applications or if it is a third party application, something like that, anything can be automated using this Espresso. But again, it is limited. So the Espresso also will support only the Android platform. Okay, you cannot use Espresso to automate any iOS stuff. Okay, so the next one is the Calabash. The Calabash is nothing but basically it is developed using the behavior driven development. Okay, so like the Cucumber stuff, the wrapper Gherkin has been utilized to develop this Calabash. But even the Calabash is having very limited support from the communities. So the final one is Appium. So the Appium is a fantastic framework. Please note it down. Appium is depending on UI Automator API to interact with your device. The last, the final one you can see ART/DVM. So that is nothing but it's a runtime environment. So you are aware of JVM, right? What JVM is doing? So the Java virtual machine is nothing but all the Java bytecodes are executed using the JVM. So it's a runtime environment, right? So each and every application developed using Java can be executed based on the JVM. So like that, the mobile application developed for Android platform is going to utilize this runtime environment, which is nothing but Android runtime for 64-bit and Dalvik virtual machine for that 32-bit. Okay, so it's coming to the background of this one is nothing but the Google tweaked the JVM and they have developed their own customized virtual machine. I mean, runtime environment for Android platform. So that is mentioned as DVM. So later they want to move from 32-bit to 64-bit. So they have developed this Android runtime. So the ART. Okay. So using this runtime environment only, the Appium is going to execute its scripts and it is going to run in your mobile phone. Okay, so I'm giving just a high level introduction about the family of Android test frameworks. So there are a lot of the comparison matrix are available in between these frameworks. Okay, but the highlight of Appium is nothing but I told you, right? So the resigning of APK or something like that is not applicable for Appium. So but if you want to work in the Robotium and all, the APK is nothing but it's a application package, what we will be saying as exe. So the exe is nothing but executable for Windows machine, right? So like that, the Android platform executable is APK. Okay, so the application package is going to be released by your development team, and the same APK is going to be installed in your phone. So how the exe is working in your Windows machine, so like that, how the DMG file is working in your Mac machine, so like that, it's nothing but a executable file which is going to be installed in your Android phone. So please note it down, the extension of that Android platform is not Android mobile application, is nothing but APK. Okay, so the APK is going to be installed in your phone. Then the application is going to be invoked, and you can do a lot of user actions. So I told you, right, depends upon the application behavior, whether if you're going to work on the bill pay sort of application, or mobile recharge application, or the ticket booking, movie ticket, or bus ticket, or something like that, any applications if you want to work it out. So all those applications are going to depend on this runtime environment. The framework behind that Android platform is nothing but whatever I'm showing here, okay, in the screen. So next I'm going to move towards the family of iOS test frameworks. Okay, so here the same Calabash and Appium is supporting the cross-platform one, but remaining things are will support the iOS platform alone. Okay, the Frank is totally outdated, but even though till iOS 9 we got support for Frank, but after that we got very limited support for Frank. So the KIF and XE test, I mean the UI testing, whatever I'm showing in the screen is the main framework. The basic purpose of this framework is nothing but this UI testing and all they have developed for taking care of the unit testing, the XC test, which is nothing but the unit testing framework developed by the Apple community. So just for your understanding, so we have seen that Espresso, right, so developed by Google. So like that, the Apple developed this XC test for their unit testing purpose. Okay, so whatever the application they have developed in their end, so they want to perform the unit testing, right? So like a lot of unit testing tools available in the market, just you correlate with TestNG, JUnit, so like that, even NUnit. So like that, they have developed this XC test to take care of their unit testing stuff. Okay, so using that XC test framework, this Appium KIF, which is nothing but keep it functional, then UI testing, all these frameworks are running. Okay, all these frameworks are working. So you can see the Appium is sharing the combination of XC test and UI automation. Okay, so we have seen the UI automator in the previous slide, right? So the Appium is sharing the UI automator. So you can see that UI automator here, right? So like that, the iOS is nothing but it is having the API of UI automation. Okay, but unfortunately, Apple stopped their support to utilize this UI automation for performing the user actions in their iPhone. Okay, in their iPhone or iPad or whatever the iOS platform, they stopped their support actually. So as of now, till iOS 9 only you can use this UI automation API to do automation, but after iOS 9, I mean from iOS 10 onwards, so now the market is in iOS 11. Okay, I'm talking about the iPhone OS version. The iOS 11 is nothing but the iPhone OS version I'm saying. Okay, till iOS 9 this UI automation API can be utilized, but from iOS 10 onwards you are going to depend on this XC test. So the Appium is going to depend on the XC test. Okay, so the XC test will be utilized to take care of any user actions in the mobile application. Okay, so what is the exact purpose of automation? Just we are going to automate the user actions. So those user action is nothing but the functional requirement given by the client or customer. Okay, so those functional requirements we are going to ensure whether those user actions has been properly handled by this application or not. So I want to enter certain text, I want to click a button, or I want to do what to say, scrum, some scroll or something like that. So I am going to do many user actions in the application to achieve a complete functional stuff. Okay, so based on that we are going to automate that user actions using this Appium framework. Okay, so coming back to this stack available
Gopi,
in, yeah, yeah,
just can I take a moment? I'll just again repeat the audience how to
yeah, yeah,
ask a
sure, sure,
question.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
thank you. Hey everyone in the audience. So to ask a question to the presenter, you can usingboard.com/meetups. Click on the upcoming button, and once you click on that, it will take you to this meetups page. There we have all the presentation and a live streaming attached. And bottom of the page we have a comment section, and you can utilize this to ask your question to the presenter. So thank you everyone. Over to you, Gopi. You can continue.
Yeah, thank you, Mayur. So coming back to the stack available in my screen, okay. So as I told you, the XC test, okay, which is the unit testing framework. So the same unit testing framework is going to be utilized by the Appium framework, okay. So the Appium framework is going to integrate with that XC test in the name of XC UI test. So the new API has been developed by the Appium community, which is going to integrate with the XC test, and all the user actions are going to be performed. Okay. Anyway, I'll be showcasing you the test scripts. So what all the user action test script you can prepare using this Appium framework. So I'll be showcasing you. Even I'm going to cover a detailed demo. So how the script execution is happening in the real device. So like that, I'm going to show you here. So coming back to this slide, so using the Cucumber stuff, the Calabash and Frank is working. So as I told, so the base language of Calabash is the Ruby is the base language. You have to write your scripts. For example, already the step definitions will be there. If you want to modify the step definition, you want to take care any new functionality in that particular Calabash framework, then you should be aware of Ruby language. Then only you can write the script. It is not like Appium stuff, because Appium can be uh, utilized by using any programming language. I told you, right? If you know Python, you can write your script. If you know Java, you can write your script, the automation script I'm saying. But if you want to write certain script in the Calabash, then you are aware of Ruby. So like that, if you want to write your script in KIF, that keep it functional, or directly the UI testing, which is nothing but XC UI test, then you should aware of Swift or Objective C. So like that, a lot of limitations are there to go for iOS automation. But the main advantage of this Appium is nothing but, if you are able to write your script using CoJava, using CoJava, then you can start automate both the platforms. I mean, the iOS application can be automated, and at the same time, you can automate the Android application also. Okay, the element syntax is going to differ. Anyway, I'm going to cover that one. The element is nothing but, you are going to see a lot of elements in the screen. So what is element? A button is an element. Okay, a text box is an element. A drop down list is an element. A list box is an element. So like that, you are going to play with the elements in the mobile screen. Okay, you are going to utilize that element, and you are going to take care the user action. Okay, so you should aware what I'm going to do. So what is element in the screen? What I'm saying here, so the element is nothing but the different controls, because each people will be using different terms here. So one guy will be saying this is a control, another guy will be saying this is a component, another guy will be saying no, this is a element. So like that, it depends upon the people perspective, the name, the term will be utilized. Okay, you yeah, what I'm saying here is, so always I'll prefer to say this is the UI element, so this is a text box element, that's it. So I'm going to enter certain text in this text box element. So what are all the syntax we are going to utilize to enter the text? So like that, we are going to see it now. Okay, in the coming slides I'm saying. So this is about the family of iOS test frameworks. So please note it down. The iOS ecosystem is not like Android. So the one of the advantage of Android is, so there are three different types of application in both the platform. Okay, so the one is native application, and the next one is hybrid application, and the third one is mobile web. So the mobile web is nothing but, already I told you, right? Using your mobile browser. So how you are using the web browser in your desktop or laptop? So you'll be using the Chrome browser to open certain web application or website, something like that, right? The same thing is applicable for mobile phone. So that is coming under mobile web. Okay. The next one is nothing but native application. So the native is nothing but, if the application developed using the proprietary SDKs. I mean, the Android application developed by using Android SDK with Java, then those components available in that mobile application, I mean, the UI elements available in the applications got utilized from the Android SDK. Okay. So like that, if application developed for iOS alone, specifically the iOS native application I want to develop means, then I have to use iOS SDK integrated with the Xcode. The Xcode is nothing but IDE. Okay. Anyway, I'll be discussing more about that. So in the bottom of the screen, you can see Xcode. The Xcode is nothing but its IDE, which is used for iOS app and Mac app. So both the applications developed by using the Xcode only. Okay, so inside that Xcode, the SDK, the iOS or Mac SDK will be there. So the software development kit is going to be utilized by the developers, and they'll be taking the controls. I mean, the text box or the radio button or something like that. They are going to take it from that SDK, and they will develop the code. Okay. So once the development is happening, then they will build that code and they will be releasing as a IPA file. So what is IPA file here? So as I told you about the Android stuff, right? So APK file, you are aware of that APK file, the application package. So same APK, the APK is applicable for Android platform. Here, the iOS application is going to be released based on the .app or .ipa. There are two extensions there. Okay, so anyhow, both the IPA and APP is nothing but it's a iPhone or iPad mobile application. Okay, so if you tell as Android application, then it's iOS application. That's it, iOS mobile application. Okay, so the iOS applicable for iPad and iPhone. Okay, so here I am talking about only the iPhone and iPad. I'm not talking about the Mac. Okay, so whatever you can see in the screen, so the iOS test frameworks, these are the frameworks available in the market, and we are going to take that executable, whether it is IPA or APP or APK, and we are going to install in our mobile phone. Okay, so the APK file is going to be installed in the Android phone alone. The IPA file or .app file is going to be installed in the iPhone alone or iPad alone. Okay, so like that, you are going to install that and you are going to automate it. Got it right? Using the frameworks available in the screen. But whatever I'm discussing here is, so there are a lot of advantages behind the implementation of Appium. Okay, so as I told, you can go for cross-platform automation using Appium, and you can get n number of third-party libraries. For example, if I want to go for sorry, if I want to go for uh, any third party libraries. So if I want to go for data driven approach, okay, so I want to take the test data from the Excel sheet. Okay, so I can go for Apache POI library or JXL library. Then I can integrate that library in my Appium framework, and I can start work on the data driven approach. Like I can take the test data. For example, I told you, right, some login screen is there in my mobile application. So to enter the credentials, I can take that credentials from the Excel sheet and I can enter here. So instead of directly hard code the credentials in my code, I can take the credentials from the Excel sheet and I can enter here. Got it right? So after that, I'll be taking care of the user action, like submit. By clicking the submit button, I'll be moving to the home page of that application. So like that, you can go for n number of third party integration, third party libraries integration using Appium, but those integration is very limited for other frameworks available in the screen. Okay, so for example, I want to show you a better report, the first final test report, which is nothing but it's based on the auditor compliance purpose. The test report is very mandatory, right? So you should provide the test evidence and the test report should be there. So the auto generated test report can be achieved using the Appium framework. So I can go for extend report, which is the open source stuff, and I can integrate that extend report in this Appium framework, and I can generate the report with the test evidence like screenshots or something like that. Okay, so I'm moving to the next screen. So this is the workflow of Appium. Okay, so if you see the screen, so this is nothing but how the Appium is working, how Appium is working. So how the data is traveling from in between the Appium and the script preparation. You will be using one machine to prepare your script, right? If you see the screen, so in the left,
Copy.
yeah,
If you want to take a break, can I just again tell the audience because they have joined, so I'll just let them know.
yeah, sure, sure.
Thanks. So if you have recently joined, I would like to inform you that this is a live meetup, and if you have any question, you can go to on this meetup space comment section at the bottom of the page, and you can come here and you can post your question in this comment section, and we'll take it. We'll take that question, and our presenter will answer that question. So that's all from my end. Gopi, you can carry on.
Yeah, thank you. So if you see the screen in the left hand side, the Appium client I mentioned, right? So what is Appium client? So if you want to prepare the script, okay, so I told you, right, if you want to do certain, if you want to take care certain user actions, so I want to enter the text, then I want to click a button. Okay, so if you want to take care of these two actions, then you are going to write this user action specific script in the client. Okay, so the client is nothing but, yeah, IDE installed in your laptop or desktop. So I'm using Eclipse here. So like that, if you're having IntelliJ or NetBeans, something like that, so you are going to use that IDE and you are going to prepare that script using the client libraries of Appium. So the Appium client mentioned in the left hand side. Okay, so you can see here, uh, just a minute, I'll take my cursor. Yeah, so if you see here, Appium client can be in any language platform as long as it is used by Appium libraries or plain HTTP API for sending request. Okay, so the Appium client library is going to be utilized here to get that user actions. So whatever the user actions you want to write it as a script, those user actions are going to be available as a inbuilt method inside this Appium client library. You got it, right? So this is very important. You should understand this workflow, then it will be easy for you to write the script. So how the script is working in the Appium, you can easily understood based on this workflow of Appium. Okay, so whatever the libraries you are going to get it from the Appium, so those libraries going to be utilized to prepare the user action script. So the various methods available inside the library, you are going to utilize it and you are going to prepare the script. So once the script preparation is done using the Eclipse IDE, you will be executing that script. Okay, so this Appium is working based on the client server technology. So in the left hand side you can see the client, right? So like that, the client request, so after the execution, your script is going to send as a request from the client to the server. In the center box you can see the Appium server. Okay, so all the scripts you prepared in the client, so you just correlate with the Eclipse IDE. So you are using Eclipse IDE, and the scripts whatever you prepared in that Eclipse IDE is nothing but client specific script. Okay, so those client specific script is going to be pushed to the server. So it is going to be sent as a request, and the server is going to send that request to the target device, whether you have connected the iOS device with the Appium server or Android device with the Appium server. Okay, so you are going to send that request, then the particular user actions can be executed in the target device connected with the Appium server. Okay, so the Appium server is going to be running in your laptop or desktop. So and at the same time, your Android device or iOS device is going to be connected with your laptop or desktop. Okay, so my Appium server is going to interact with the target device and it will execute that user action. That's it. Okay, so one more tweak is there here. You cannot automate iOS related stuff. I mean, you cannot automate iPhone using your Windows machine. That is very important. Okay, so the iPhone can be automated using only Mac, or a workaround solution is there. You can install the virtual machine, that VMware VM Mac VM in your Windows machine, then you can automate the iOS platform. Okay, so you cannot automate the iOS platform in the Windows machine. Please note it down. But the Android platform can be automated in the Mac. I mean, your Mac machine can be utilized to automate both Android platform and iOS platform. Got it, right? This is very important. Please note it down. If you are if you want to if you want to implement this Appium automation in your end, and you want to automate both iOS platform and Android platform, you should go for Mac. The Mac OS X should be there, then only you can automate both the platform. If I'm not having Mac OS X, then you can implement automation only for Android platform, because the Windows machine will support only the Android platform. That is very important. You should aware of it. Okay, so coming back to the workflow of Appium. So as I said, you are going to prepare your script, the Appium client based scripts, using the any of the IDE available at your end. Then you are going to download all the libraries from the appium.io official website. Okay, then you are going to prepare your script. You are going to send that request to the server. The server is going to send that request to the target device connected with the laptop or desktop. Then the execution done, then you will be getting back the response. Got it, right? So this is nothing but the workflow of Appium. So this is some high level picture about the way of working. Okay, so I told you, right, in the right hand side you can see the test running machine, right? So the test running machine is nothing but which is nothing but your laptop or desktop. Okay, so as I told, your IDE, I mean the Eclipse, NetBeans, or what to say, the IntelliJ is going to be installed in this test running machine. Then and the next one is Selenium WebDriver. I told you, right, basically the Appium got developed using the Selenium stuff. But please note it down, the methods available in the Appium is totally unique. You cannot expect those methods in the Selenium, like touch actions. I want to touch, four finger touch should be done concurrently in your phone. That is cannot be achieved using the Selenium stuff. Okay, so they have reused certain properties, methods available in the Selenium, and they have modified the code specifically for the mobile platform. I mean, inside the Appium framework, I'm saying. Okay, so the next one is sorry. So the next one is nothing but test server. The test server is nothing but the Appium server. In the previous slide, I showed I shown you, right. The same thing applicable here. The test running machine is client. The test server is nothing but the server. So the client is going to interact with the server. The server is going to interact with the target device. Got it, right? So this is very easy to understand. So nothing complication is here. So you should understand the client server terminology. Then it will be easy for you to implement the Appium in your end, whether if you want to work as a proof of concept or if you want to work as a feasibility study for your application available in your office, or on your self interest, if you want to learn Appium, it doesn't matter. You should clearly understood, so what is client, what is server, how the target device is connecting with the server. So these are the terminologies you should understand, then easily you can achieve it. Okay, so the next slide. So this is nothing but the code structure. Okay, so based on this code structure only you are going to work it out. So what is about this code structure? If you see in the screen, so we are going to depend on certain drivers. So if you're already aware of Selenium, then easily you should understand what is WebDriver. Okay, so the WebDriver is nothing but depends upon the browser. The WebDriver will vary. Okay, so for example, if you want to work on the Chrome browser, then you will be going for Chrome driver. If you want to work on the Microsoft Edge browser, then you will be going for Edge driver. So like that, if you want to work on the Firefox, of course, the Firefox and the Chrome is a standardized one in Selenium implementation. So like that, the same driver logics applies here. If you want to go for Appium implementation, then you have to select the Android driver for Android platform, iOS driver for iOS platform, or I want to go for cross platform, I want to automate both the iOS and Android, then you should select the Appium driver. Got it, right? And the final one is remote web driver. So what is the purpose of remote web driver? If you want to go for mobile web automation, and again at the same time I want to automate and I want to run my script by performing the parallel execution in different devices connected in the single machine. Okay, so like that you can go for different drivers to achieve certain stuff. Okay, so this is nothing but the driver initialization is very important in your end. So the next one is desired capabilities. The backbone of Appium automation is nothing but desired capabilities. Okay, so you should be aware of what is desired capabilities. So in the screen you can see, right? So what is the device name, what is the platform version, what is the platform name, what is app package, what is app activity. So these are the important parameters you should understand, then only you can go for Appium implementation. Okay, so I'll be explaining each and every one here. So the device name is nothing but you can give any name. So because which is nothing but your device name is nothing but I'll be showing how to take the device name by running the adb devices command. Okay, so you are going to use that command and you are going to pick the device name and you can give it here. The next one is platform version. Of course, the platform version is not a mandatory one. So even though if you're not giving that platform version, your script will nicely execute. You no need to worry about that. And the next third one is platform name. So if you're going to automate Android, then you should give Android here. If you're going to automate iOS, then you should mention iOS here. Okay, so the last two parameters is very important. Okay, so what is the purpose of that parameter? For example, if you're going to work in the Selenium, you will be giving the URL of your application, right? Your whatever the web application you are going to work. So www dot example the paypal.com. So like that you are going to give the web application URL. Here we are working with the standalone application. I mean which is nothing but a if you compare with the Windows, so what is the difference between Windows application and web application? So Windows application is nothing but a standalone application, right? So like that, you are going to work with the standalone application in the mobile platform. So you have to give the particular mobile application package name and activity name. So I'll be showing you how to take the package name and activity name using the ADB commands. I'll be showing you. Okay, so there is a dumsys command is available. I'll be running that command. I'll show you how to take that package name and all. Okay, so coming back to that one, so you should give the package name. So the package name is nothing but, so how we are working with the Java. So you are creating the package, then only you are going to then only you are going to create a class, right? So when you're going to create a sample programming using the Java stuff and all, so like that, if a developer going to develop a mobile application, so they are going to create the package. Okay, so inside that package, multiple classes going to be created based on their requirements, needs, etc. Okay, so coming back to this one, so you have to get that package name of your target application. If you want to automate Paytm, okay, or if you want to automate a build desk application, something like that. Okay, many familiar applications available market. If you want to automate the Facebook application, okay, so you want to take that package name of your Facebook application or Paytm application, then you are going to give that package name in your script. The next one is nothing but the activity name. So activity is nothing but the first screen name of your mobile application should be mentioned here. Okay, so these are the main difference in between the Selenium based automation and Appium based automation. Okay, you should clearly give the package name and the activity name of your target mobile application, then only the particular application can be identified by your Appium script and it will invoke in this screen. I mean, it will be opening in this screen. Got it right? So this is very important. So you are going to mention about the device information inside the desired capabilities. So I told you, right, the desired capability is nothing but backbone of your Appium automation. So you are going to collect the device details and you are going to mention those information. Not only device details, I mean the target application details also. The combination of device details and the application details you are going to collect and you are going to mention inside the desired capability stuff. Okay, so this is very important. So based on this only, which is the target device going to be identified by your Appium and which is the target application is going to be identified by your Appium. So please note it down. So which is the right device, which is the right application I want to automate. So those informations are going to be identified using this desired capabilities section. Okay, so the next point, so I told you, right, this is working based on the client server. So I have prepared the script in my client. So how it will interact with the server? So I'm going to give the server information in the next part. So if you see here, the driver equal to new remote web driver, new URL, then I've given the Appium server IP address and port number. Okay, I know I'll show you. So how can you get this information in the Appium server? It's not a problem. Okay. So, and the next one is nothing but just I'm going to give an implicit wait. So for every user actions, I'm going to wait up to here I have mentioned 80 seconds. Okay, you just give 30 seconds. That is a standardized one. So after that, you can prepare your user action script. I'll show you. So the user action script I'll show you when I'm going to run the demo, because in the next couple of slides I'm going to run my script. Actually, I'm going to execute my Appium script and it is going to be run in the mobile device. I'll be showing that. Okay, so coming back to the slide, whatever the prerequisites you are going to mention in the before test. So this is nothing but JUnit. So I have mentioned just at before. If you are going to work in the test ng, then you are going to mention at before method or at before suit or at before test, something like that you are going to give. So please note it down. The prerequisite, whatever you are going to take care, I mean the desired capability stuff with the device information and the application information is going to be mentioned inside that. Then which is the right server I'm going to interact from the client, you are going to mention that. Okay, then whatever the user action script you are going to prepare, those information is going to be available inside the at test method. I'll be showing you in my Eclipse IDE. Okay, and the final one is nothing but the whatever the connection I established using the driver, I'm going to quit the driver, which is nothing but the application will be closed actually. Okay, So there are two different methods available. You can use driver.quit or driver.close. You can use anything. Okay. So the advantage of driver.quit is nothing but the connection in between the client and the server will be killed using this driver.quit. Okay. That is very important. So this is some high level information about the code structure overview. Okay. Anyhow, at the time of demo, I'll be explaining more information. Okay. So what are the things you are going to take care inside the user action stuff. So I'll segregate this Appium stuff into two different areas. So one is nothing but desired capabilities. Another one is nothing but user actions. So the desired capabilities is going to be used for identify the target device and then identify the target application, and the next area is nothing but user actions. So what are the user actions I'm going to achieve in this target application available in the phone? Got it right? So I'm moving to the next slide. So previously we discussed, right? So what are the elements available in the screen? So whether it's a text box, a radio button, or a checkbox, something like that. So those elements are going to be identified using the inspectors. Got it right? So you aware of the debugging tool in the Chrome browsers. Okay. Then Firebug, which is very outdated one. Okay. So that Firebug will be used in the Firefox browser to identify the UI elements in the web application. So like that, the mobile application will be having n number of elements in the screen, right? So using that elements only, you are going to do certain user actions. So those elements are, you should identify that element information. Based on that element information only, user actions. Okay. So these are the inspectors available in the market, which is very good to go ahead. So for example, the UI automator viewer, which is available as a inbuilt inside the Android SDK. Then Android device monitor, which is nothing but the batch available in the inside the Android SDK. Then the Chrome inspector, which can be used for hybrid application and mobile web application to do automation. And the final one is Appium inspector. So inside the Appium server itself, there is a utility which can be used to inspect the UI elements available in the mobile application. Okay. So I'm moving to the next slide. So these are the UI locators. So already, if you work in the Selenium, or if you heard about the Selenium based automation, so what are the attributes of that particular element I write my script? Okay. So for example, based on the ID, I can capture the information and I can prepare my automation script. So if you compare with the Selenium, so Selenium is having this link text, partial link text, CSS, tag name and all. But unfortunately, Appium will not support those attributes. Okay. So whatever in the green tick you are seeing in the screen, right? So you can utilize ID, name, class name, XPath. That's it. So these are the four different attributes you are going to use it in the Appium to get the element information. Please note it down. You should clearly aware of what is the element in the mobile application. As I discussed, which is nothing but a text box or button, something like that. Okay. So the different elements going to be available in the screen. You are going to use these attributes to do certain user actions with that elements. Okay. Okay. So now coming to the demo part. Okay. So this is very important. You are going to see how my test scripts going to be executed in the real device. Okay.
Sure. Thanks, Gopi. So
Yeah.
meanwhile, you connect. I'll just explain the audience because there are a few people online. I'll just explain them how to uh, ask you a question.
Sure. Sure.
Thanks, Gopi. You can connect now, and I'll just meanwhile.
Yeah.
So to those who are online, if you want to ask any question uh, to the speaker, you can go to this softwaretestingboard.com/meetups page, and you can click on upcoming. That will take you to the current meetups page. And on this meetups page, after the live stream and the presentation, at the bottom we have a comment section. And you can post your question here, and we'll ask this question uh, to the speaker, and he will answer your question in the live stream. So that's all. Over to you, Copy.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to share my screen again. You can see my screen, right, Mayur?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So actually, I open the Appium server. Okay, you can download this Appium server in the appium.io website. I can show you where you can see that. So if you give appium.io, so in the download section, you can see. So you can see downloads here. So I told you, right, the client library can be used to automate the for script preparation. So various methods are going to be available inside the client library. You are going to reuse that method to perform the user action. That is one thing. And this is nothing but the desktop apps, which is nothing but the Appium server. So whatever the scripts you prepared using this client is going to be reach the Appium server, and the Appium server is going to interact with the target device. That is very important. Okay. So again, the next thing is nothing but, so this is the Appium server, and you can see here. So just I'm going to make the server up using the IP address. I'm going to give as 0.0.0. Then the port number is 4723. So the server is up. So once the server is up, then you can see the listener started message here. Okay. So if you're able to see this listener started, then your Appium server is running successfully. There is no issue like that. Okay. So this is one of the standalone application available for the Appium implementation. Okay. So the next one is what I'm going to do is I have connected one of the one real device here. Okay. So I'm going to check whether my device properly connected in my machine. So you can see the ID. Okay. So I told you, right, you can give the device name by getting the adb devices command, by running the adb devices command. So I have given this device name in my desired capabilities. So if you see here, so the device name, I have mentioned the device name by running the adb devices command. Even though the device name is not mandatory, but always you try to use these device name stuff, whatever, because if you're going for parallel execution, multiple run in different devices, then which is going to be a mandatory one in your so please note it down. You are going to collect the device name using the adb devices command. So after that, as usual, I told you, so the platform name you are going to mention. Then the next one is nothing but just I'm having the apk. So here for showcasing purpose, I'm going to use a typography application, which is nothing but Fontly, available in the Play Store. So even this is one of the advantage of this Appium automation. You can download any native application from the Play Store and you can start automate it. So no need to get the source code, or no need to get any beta build or something like that from the appropriate development team. Okay, you can download any application from Play Store and you can start automate it. Okay. So like that, I have taken the production application of Fontly, and I'm using here for the automation implementation purpose. Okay. So the next one is nothing but so I told you, right, the how the package name and the activity name should be identified. So I'm going to run one command. Okay. So before that, give me a second. I'm going to show you my mobile screen here.
Thanks, Gopi. So,
Yeah.
quickly to those who have recently joined, again, I'm just repeating that we have a comment box at the bottom of the page on the meetups page. You can scroll to the end of the page and you will see the comment box loading. You can post your question over there, and we'll be getting those questions live from the Gopi today. Over to you, Gopi.
Yeah, sure. So we can wait till it is getting loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the Fontly application up in my mobile. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this command. So please note it down. What is the target application you are going to automate? You should open that application in your phone and you have to run this command. Okay. I'm going to run this command. So by opening the target application, give me a second. So you can see I opened that Fontly typography application here. So in that, the first from com.imagineer.fontly is the package name, and the next one is com.imagineer.fontly.screens.welcome activities. This is the activity name, which is nothing but the initial screen name. So I have mentioned the same thing in my script. Okay, so the app package is going to have that package name, and the app activity is going to have the activity name. Okay, so like that, I'm going to get the package name and activity name, and I'm going to mention here. So we can see whether the yeah, it is loaded. Just a minute, because for demo purpose, it will be good to see this. Yeah. So just I'm taking mirror of my real device screen here. That's it. Okay. I'm not doing anything more than that. Yeah. So you can see my screen, right? So this is my real device screen. So first I'll be running my script. After that, I'll be explaining what is happening using my script. Okay. So already the server is running here. So I have mentioned the 4723 and 0.0.0 IP address. So we are going to interact with the server using this section. Okay, so this is nothing but the client script. So this is nothing but the desired capabilities. So I have taken the APK file from this location, and I'm going to mention that location using the app capability stuff. So what is going to happen is nothing but the APK file is going to be fetched from my local drive, and it is going to install in the target device. Please note it down. This APK file is available in my laptop. Okay, so the same APK file is going to be taken from my laptop, and it is going to install in the target device. Got it right? So you can see in the screen, I'm going to uninstall this Fontly application. So I uninstalled. Now I'm going to run the script. So after running the script, I'll be explaining you the user action stuff. Okay. So you can see here. So other side, oh, sorry. So in the Appium server console, you can see what is happening, what all the user actions are running. Like that, you can see each and everything. Yeah, the Foundly application got invoked, installed and invoked. Then the login is happening. The username typed. So I'm just entering the text, okay, using the automation script. I'm not doing anything manually here. My automation script is running. So the login successfully done. So just I'm waiting for one screen here. Yes, it's loaded. So the execution done. You can see. So my login test case is success. Okay, so now coming back to this one, just a minute. Now I'll coming I'm going to discuss about this script here. Okay, so I have used the Eclipse IDE here, and as I told, just I mapped the Appium client libraries in my Eclipse IDE, and I already downloaded the Appium server, and I make the server up. Okay. In the other hand, just I connected my Android device. Just I used the MIA1, which is having the stock ROM of Android 1. Okay. So I connected my Android phone here. So the Xiaomi MIA1 I used here. So after that, I prepared the desired capabilities as I told you. So just I'm going to take the APK file from this location, and I'm going to install in my target device. Then I captured the package name and activity name, and I mentioned here. So after that, so which is the server I want to interact, I have given the server stuff here. So this is, that's it. So I told you, right, two areas which is very important, the Appium implementation. The one area is desired capability area, and the next area is user actions. So now coming to the user actions. So what I'm doing here is nothing but just I capture the element information. I told you, right? So the inspectors are there. Using that inspector, I captured the element information, like that I told you, right? So how I captured the element information, just I'll give a small gist. Okay, I'm not going to showcase each and every elements available in the screen. So I'll show you the first one. Okay, the button skip. Okay, so before that, I'm going to clear the cache of this app, because already it will be in the login position. So you can see, so already it's in login position. So instead of that, I'm going to clear the cache. Yes. So I'm going to open this. So you can see at the bottom of the screen, skip button is there, right? So you can see my cursor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, there are 4 different types of inspectors I shown you, right? So now I'm going to showcase you only one inspector. Okay. Anyhow, you can automate the application using that inspector. It's not a problem actually. So the UI automator viewer. So you can see the location inside the Android SDK, and inside the tools folder, and inside that bin folder will be there. Inside that, the UI automator viewer .bat will be there. So it is coming as a free utility from the Android SDK. Okay. So once you run that batch file, you can see this utility screen. So you are going to click the second icon, device screenshot. I mean, you are going to take the screenshot of your screen. So what is showing in my screen is nothing but, you can see in my team viewer. So you can see, right? So this is the screen showing in my screen. So what I'm going to do is, so just I'm going to click this button. So my screen got captured in this UI automator viewer. Okay. So if you are going to click anything, then easily you can see the element information in the right pane. So the text is skip. The resource ID is com.imagineer.fontly idea / btn underscore skip. Then this is the class, this is the package. So like that, you can get each and every element information using this UI automator viewer. So like that, many inspectors are available for you with respect to Appium workout. Okay. So Appium implementation, you can go for any inspectors. Even by default, the Appium server is having its own utility to inspect the elements. Okay, in the interest of time, just I'm going to show you only the UI automator viewer here. So like that, if you want to capture anything, so for example, I'll show you. So if you want to capture anything, then easily you can click it and you can get the information. Okay. So like that, if you see here, give me a second. So if you see here, so this is the resource ID I have taken. Okay. So I told you, right, by ID, then class is there, then text is there. So the different locators I shown you, right? So like that, I'm going to use the locator of based on the ID stuff, and I capture this information and I mentioned here. So I have given the same ID information here. Got it, right? So this is the ID information I captured using the UI automator viewer. So using this information I mentioned here, then I'm going to call the dot click method. That's it. So if you see here, so it is available inside the library. So whatever I have used the libraries, so those libraries going to have different methods. So for example, even this Android driver is available inside my Appium library. So I told you, right, the client library should be downloaded from appium.io. So the same client libraries having this driver stuff, methods, each and everything is available inside that client library. Okay, so like that I captured each and every element information and I prepared this user action script. Okay, so then I have created a 45 seconds wait for element object, and I have given the element stuff inside that. So up to 45 seconds it will try to uh, check this element is available in the screen or not. If it is available, then it will move to the next script. So like this, you are going to prepare the user action script and you are going to take care the automation stuff available in the mobile application. I mean, if you want to implement the Appium stuff with respect to functional testing or user acceptance testing, okay, you are going to automate certain scenarios. You are going to automate certain user actions, okay, with respect to the requirements available at your end. So you are going to follow the same approach in your end, and you can implement this Appium to take care of the regression suite or some end-to-end automation, or even the sanity check, or even the build verification testing can be achieved. Whether my application is properly opened or not, whether my application properly login is happening or not, like that you can check each and everything. So got it right. So this is the way I have taken the stuff. After that I used this file utilities and I captured the screenshot. If you see here, so this get screenshot as is already available in the inside the client library. Okay, so I have used this method and I have taken a screenshot of my final screen. So if you see here, so here you can see, so this is the screenshot I captured. Got it right. So like that the login is successfully done. After that I wait for some time to get the screen. Okay, then I capture the screen. That's it, my test case got over based on the driver.pit. So that's it about the demo. So whatever you have seen here, so this is nothing but so I have used the Eclipse IDE. Then I have created the POM based project. I'll show you. So what are all the stuff I used here. Okay, so if you see here, so nothing I'm using here. So I created the Maven project. Just I have used the Java client 6.0.0.beta 5, then the test ng. Okay, so that's it. So all the dependencies are going to be automatically downloaded using this pom.xml stuff. Okay, you are going to create a dependency. Only two dependencies you are going to create. One is nothing but the io.appium, which is nothing but the client libraries of Appium. You are going to get it from the Maven repo, and the second dependency is nothing but the test ng stuff. Okay, that's it. You are going to use these two dependencies and you are going to prepare your script. That's it. You are not going to do anything more than that. Got it right. So just as a recap, just I want to highlight, please note it down. You are going to consider the desired capability stuff, which is nothing but the target device you are going to target device information you are going to mention here, and the target application information going to be mentioned here, and the user action script you are going to take care here. Finally, please don't forget to add the driver.quit, so which is going to terminate the connection in between the client and the server. The client is nothing but your Eclipse IDE, and the server is already running in your machine. Okay, so this is the server. Yeah, that's it about the Appium high level information. Thank you, Mayur. Thank you for the opportunity provided to me. So just I covered some high level information about the Appium implementation to cover the iOS and Android application automation.
Sure. So just quickly
Mayur, your voice is
in
getting break. Actually, we are not able to hear it properly.
this is good now.
Mayur, are you there?
Yeah, am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, now it is fine.
So we have a question from Abdul, and he's asking that how different it is to setting this up on a Mac machine than on a Windows machine, because what you showed us is uh, what you showed us now is Windows machine, right? So how do we set this up on a Mac machine?
Yeah, so I told you right. The Android platform is going to be depend on the Android SDK. So like that, the iPhone can be automated using the iOS SDK. So those iOS SDK cannot be installed in the Windows machine. Okay, it will be available only in the Mac machine. Okay, the Mac OS X. You are going to download the Xcode. The Xcode is the dependency. Okay, so the Xcode is nothing but which is the IDE, and again it's integrated with the iOS SDK. So there is no option to install that Xcode in your Windows machine. So because of that only you are not able to do iOS automation in your Windows machine. Mayur, are you there? Mayur, we are not able to hear you.
Yeah, this is correct.
Your voice is
This
getting
is
break
a
actually.
question. Yeah, is this audible now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is all question we have for now. Thank you so much, Gopi, for this. And I understand you had some personal issues with it. Apart from that, you still came out, and I totally appreciate your commitment. Thank you so much, Gopi, for doing
Yeah.
this.
Thank you,
And
Mayur. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you
so,
for
anybody
all
have,
joining the session.
yeah, and if you have any more question, feel free to ask in this comment box. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have any question, you can ask us here. We are still around for like minutes, and we'll be answering your question. So next thing, what I'm going to explain is next thing I'm going to answer is explain about question and answer site that we have. So we have a question and answer site called Software Testing Professionals, where you can come and ask your question, and one person in team he will go and answer your question. So this is a question and answer site. You can register here, and it will be just like a typical question and answer site like Quora and Stack Overflow. So next thing, also I wanted to explain up site that we have. So as you all know that we are organizing a monthly meetup. Uh, this is not a workshop or a tutorial. This is just anybody can come and talk. So if you want to be a speaker at the next meetup, uh, you can fill up this Google form, which is available on the meetups page, softwaretestingboard.com/meetups. And this meetup happens on uh, every fourth Saturday of the month. So you can it is a monthly meetup. Next thing, if you want to stay updated, you can follow us on our you can follow us on our podcast page, that is linkedin.com/software testing board. And also, if you want to stay updated, you can follow us on meetup.com. uh, you can go to meetup.com and that /software testing board Chennai. And these are our contact details. So if you have any question, you can always contact us. So that's all from our end. I don't see any more question coming up today. So that's all, Copy. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for the demo, wonderful demo, and thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. And talk to you sometimes again in the next meetup with a new topic.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mayur. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye. Bye.